welcome back to Anime Death Spiral, the only anime podcast that is entirely funded by the New Zealand Fund for the Arts. So if anybody asks, we are recording this in Auckland right now, which is where we are, wink, wink. So there's no chance that that is going to interrupt our fund money. Right?
Yes, unfortunately, the good people of New Zealand's tax money are going to making our TikToks.
I apologize. It is not a total waste of taxpayer funds yet.
I know you're asking, where's the money going? These are clearly low-budget TikToks. The production values are almost non-existent. Where could that money possibly be going? And I just want to put the rumors to rest. Yes, it is going into body pillows.
Listen, technically, according to the rules, we are supposed to be doing this podcast with New Zealand accents.
I've never heard one in my entire life, so I can only approximate it. I assume they sound like Bane for Batman, right?
Yeah, no, that's pretty much it. Just a country full of Banes, people walking around with respirators on.
Anime Season 2024, are you ready to talk about anime premieres?
Yes, please. You think that you were born in the anime, but I was molded by it.
You think that Nokotan is your friend, but you will find out soon that it is more like an enemy.
Okay, you want to start with
I'm
that
losing
one?
it. I can't even keep it up.
You can't even do it.
I can't.
You can't even
I
do it with a
can't.
straight face.
I can't. It's true. I'm terrible with voices. I'm sorry.
All right, let's get into this then.
Oh my God, what is that? What is that horrible? Is that some kind of deformed Australian accent? Is that like what?
Listen, I don't like talking like this, but it's the law, all right?
That's the mutants in Mad Max. They talk like that.
Yeah, that's my war boy accent.
Witness me.
Witness
Right?
me, isn't it? Let's go on a walkabout.
Isn't it? Isn't it? Witness me, isn't it? You right, cunt. Oh, fuck. Oh, my God.
Oh, our numbers in New Zealand are going to drop after this.
Oh, no.
We were the number 26 podcast.
That's true. We are inexplicably popular in New Zealand.
Well, anime-related podcast.
Most anime never makes it out there because, you know, the whole isolated island thing.
Well, they don't dub it into the accent, so no one can understand what they're saying.
Japan seems to think that they're an uncontacted tribe. So they don't actually distribute there.
Oh, there's people in New Zealand now.
Oh, okay. Well, that's why our show is so popular, because we bring you the anime, Aucklanders, you hobbits. We want to spell it out for you very carefully because, frankly, you know, in a year or two when you get these shows, we want you to be prepared for the summer anime 2024 season as soon as it lands on your shores. I assume rolled up in little glass bottles.
Yeah, no, they get thumb drives full of anime shows that float in on balloons from Australia.
Yeah, like how they say they put those thumb drives into North Korea by like blasting them out of cannons and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, first of all, before we even get into that, there is one thing that's not summer 2024 anime season. I just want to mention it because this is sort of relevant to my anime experience and this podcast itself. Recently, we had another announcement. For me, this caught me off guard, maybe because I just hadn't thought of it in a while, but the Witch Hat Atelier is finally getting an anime adaptation.
Huh.
This is wild.
Okay, I've heard that title before, but I'm not familiar with the series.
It's Little Witch Girls. And this was a series that actually like got me back into reading manga like very heavily, like years and years ago now.
Okay.
Which presaged this entire project we are currently neck deep in. I don't think I would have been reading.
Yeah, no, it was a downward trend from that point. It's not like getting back into reading manga and watching anime helped you in the long run.
No, not in any tangible way. It actually did lead directly to this, which has been nothing but a drain on my mental health. But that is where it started. I started reading Witch Hat Atelier, and it got me like reading anime and manga again, like very heavily. Like,
Okay.
absolutely, sincerely. Like, it is really, really good. It is incredibly beautiful. The art is so fantastic.
The first point of reference that comes to my mind is it anything like Little Witch Academia?
Yeah, but it's much more sincere. It's not really like a comedy in that way. It's played very straight. It's like a little girl. I think her name is Coke. Yeah, her name is Coco, which is funny to me.
Oh, okay. I thought her name was Coke for a second.
Her name is Coke. Her best friend's name is Pepsi.
Yes.
And this is a great thing. And this is funny because I was reading something earlier about a manga about playing music, which we've talked about many times about like this and cooking manga, where it's like, well, you can't actually experience the thing, so why would you draw a manga about it? But this is a manga where magic is done primarily through like magical ink and drawing runes and stuff.
Okay.
And you can imagine that translates very well into a comic book. Drawing cool stuff makes magic happen. Yeah, that's a pretty good premise for a manga.
Yeah.
It works very, very well. And so Coco...
I mean, that's what's that DS game where you just draw stuff and it becomes real?
Kirby the Magic Paintbrush?
Well, yeah, that's a good one. Are
you talking about Scribblenauts?
I'm thinking. Thank you. Yes, I'm thinking about Scribblenauts
or Drawn to Life.
Any number of that genre.
Yes,
but Scribblenauts is the one I was thinking of. Yes.
Sure. Yes, it's very much like that. And little Coco is obviously kind of a rural bit of a bumpkin who just so happens to be discovered by like a passing magician. Who discovers her incredible talent for scribbling, and goes like, "Hey, kid, abandon your entire life and come with me." And she's like, "Hell yeah!"
Yeah, that seems like a reasonable decision to put on a child.
Look, if a magic guy shows up and is like, "You're coming with me," like you're going. There's no question in anybody's mind. If that happened to me, I'd go.
Okay, hold on. What is her life like? At the beginning, is she like, what are her parents farmers? What's going on here?
Dressmakers, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Ma, I'm going with this weird stranger. See ya. And they're just like, cool, another one less mouth to feed.
Yes. Yeah. You say that like it's crazy, but that is it. Yes.
It's morbid.
It's morbid. Look, you just don't understand rural life, okay, little city boy.
I guess not. I guess it's better this way because the next bad harvest they were gonna take her out behind the shed and shoot her between the eyes.
Look, I'm just saying, you should go watch Hoop Dreams, okay? Okay. That's the last thing I'll say about it. I just wanted to bring it up.
What does this weird pervert want to do with her?
I just wanted to bring it up. Well, teach her magic. She goes to a magic academy, of course. Duh.
Sure.
I just wanted to bring it up because this was like a big, weird turning point in my manga. My recent, fairly like 6-7 years recent manga history. And it's really exciting that this is getting an anime adaptation. And I really hope it's done well because, like I said, the look of this manga is very intricate and very, very beautiful. Maybe that's why it didn't have an adaptation for so long, because like it's kind of a daunting task,
Now watch it get outsold by the anime about the ramen shop run by cats.
Well, you were hyping that up already, right?
I mean, that's where my money's going. That's where I'm at. I'm on Team Red Cat Ramen.
You're on Team Cat Ramen, which is disgusting to me. It literally makes me feel ill. Makes me sick thinking about that. It's fucking disgusting.
I mean, it's better than being into knockoff Harry Potter.
I'm not even going to dignify that with a response. All right. Did you watch Red Cat Ramen? Because that was a premiere summer anime 2024 season premiere.
No,
Red Cat
you
Ramen.
see, I've been savoring that one. I've been holding
Okay.
off on it. I did watch some other stuff though. Don't you worry.
Okay.
I did fit in some time for some other stuff that is definitely quality.
All right, well, let's dive into it then, shall we? Let's just plunge like the guy who dove into the empty pool. Let's go straight into it with the one that we both watched. My dear friend Nokotan, the one that is, according to you, being hyped up all over the internet.
I don't know if it's being hyped up. It's being memed a lot.
Okay, memed.
Yeah, I think that's different. That is a different energy to it than being like hyped up as the next big thing, right? You know, I feel like Freerin was hyped up in its time. That was a big showcase, one that everyone was talking about.
Sure. Well, everybody loves the 1,000-year-old elf.
Yeah, well, I mean, have you seen her? She's got that Baby Yoda appeal.
Oh, okay. All right. Calm down. I don't think, and also I don't think, as much as people like comedies, I'm not sure if comedy anime really like explodes like that,
Yeah.
When was the last time we had an extraordinarily, overwhelmingly popular like comedy anime?
I mean, One Punch Man, I would say.
Yeah, but like that has a bunch of fighting in it,
I mean, the fighting is funny at times.
Sometimes the fighting's funny.
The fighting can be a joke.
Yes, but remember, what is everybody's big complaint about season 2?
Is that the animation looked like shit.
Yeah, the fighting is bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think we can settle that. Frankly, I think if anime comedies could become huge hits, Pop Team Epic would be everywhere. It would be the biggest fucking thing. It would be bigger than Futurama. It would be bigger than Family Guy. It would be bigger than South Park.
Would it be bigger than The Simpsons?
No, nothing can ever be bigger than The Simpsons. The Simpsons eclipses all other pieces of media.
Okay, all right. I can rest easy knowing that remains a pillar of creation.
Yes. Now, my dear friend Nokotan is, and I don't want to sound like a hater, but it is no Pop Team Epic.
No, and I was, again, I guess you could say I fell for the memes. I thought that this was going to be a little bit more funny than it was, but and I can't lay the entire blame on it. Just the issue that I have with it.
God forbid you blame the show for not being funny.
Well, okay,
It's not its fault.
I think the disconnect here is that so much of the humor, and I recognize the humor in the show as being very referential to Japan specifically, which is, I wouldn't expect anything less, but it's, it would be like showing a Japanese person an episode of Robot Chicken and expecting them to get all of the jokes, right?
What? Hey, King of the Hill is very popular in Japan, or so I am told.
Well, that's different. They really like Bobby. He's a cultural icon there. He looks like the Buddha.
God dang it, Bobby. Put down that shuriken.
There was a two-part King of the Hill episode where they go to Japan. You know that, right?
No, I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, the whole plot is they go to Japan because Hank finds out that he has a Japanese half-brother from when his dad was in World War II.
Weird.
It was weird. Yeah,
that's weird.
That was, later. That was later era King of the Hill, where they tried to get kind of, saccharine, emotional.
If they Flanderized.
Yeah,
it was deep into the Flanderization.
Absolutely, at that point.
Yeah, yeah. But Nokotan. What? Now, I didn't have the same experience because I actually did when the manga came out. I did read like a fair amount before I stopped. So I knew all the stuff that was going to happen in this first episode. And with, a danger of dissecting the frog, right? I did like that there were a couple of visual only, like animation only jokes. I thought there were some good ones they snuck in there. They made some good changes from the manga. I was a little disappointed that my favorite joke got changed, which is at one point the main girl is horrified, and in the manga it's represented by her turning into like a Kazuo Umez character. And then in the anime they just kind of do a more of a generic like horrified character, which I felt was a little weird. And like, why not do the Kazuo Umezu joke?
Maybe they couldn't clear it with the copywriters. His style is copyrighted.
Yeah, he copyrighted a kind of face. That's
Yes.
how strict they are in Japan. But most of I thought there was actually some pretty solid shit in there, and my watch partners, I think this was their favorite show out of the entire set.
I didn't think it was bad. I definitely laughed at some of the more universal gags, the physical jokes and everything. And
I like
it
the
was
use
funny.
of the 3D deer. I think the 3D deer are a great use that is not in the manga.
Yeah, I thought those were great.
They did a lot of really interesting stuff with that. The way they used the dread soundtrack when she's walking is obviously, again, something they can only do in anime, which is very good. I thought that was really great. The thing I really hate is the little dance in the opening song. I hate that little dance.
Oh yeah, that one's getting you. You don't enjoy the moeification of it.
I hate that. I really truly despise it. It makes me feel sick. Again, much
But
like Cat
every
Ramen.
good anime has to have a dance. Yeah, ever since
Lucky Star.
ever since Lucky Star,
Yeah.
you got to have your own dance.
It makes me sick. It makes me fucking sick to my stomach. I hated it. I hated it.
That didn't bother me.
And it's not even a good dance.
That didn't bother me too much. It is a dumb dance. It's a dumb dance.
I mean, it's hardly Chica, It's not even on Chica level.
Yeah, and it's like sure, I've been doing it myself just around my house all day.
Whenever you catch your own eye in the mirror. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm not saying that it's not a catchy, but I don't think it was necessary. I agree, it was not necessary. I think what I hated most was that, and I've read a couple different sources about this. Apparently, the official subtitles that got released with it, were very, very bad and just straight up did not translate certain jokes in a way that they would make sense.
Sure.
And so, and I even noticed that myself just the first time watching it, something feels off. And something that I missed the first time around is that there are a bunch of jokes because the main girl, her whole thing is that she used to be a delinquent and now she's an honor student. She's trying to hide her past, right?
Yes, a premise so incredibly thin that they can't even keep it up for 2 episodes.
I think first of all, I think it's better that way. If you're doing a weird gag anime like this is, there's no reason that you need to adhere to any kind of structure past the setup. I don't think that's not what they're trying to do here.
I think it's good that they get rid of it because it's stupid. It's not funny at all, and it doesn't add anything. It's not a good foundation for any joke. All the jokes that have something to do with I'm a good girl now and I was a bad girl. All of those jokes fell flat. They fucking
that's
suck.
what I was saying. There was a bunch of jokes where, because Japanese as a language has different structure and tenses
Words?
that you use.
Oh.
Well, when you're trying to convey,
Stuff?
different stuff. And
Yeah.
so there's a bunch of jokes in there where she starts off saying stuff like a gangster would say it and then catches herself halfway through and reverts back to being super proper grammar.
I think they convey that pretty well just using her facial expressions, though. I don't think it's it's hard to
I
miss.
definitely got it again from the animation, but the subtitles could have made it more clear. It was not It was not a perfect translation, but then again, what is?
You wanted font changes like they did in the old days.
I would really like some font changes. I would like I really liked that thing where they would give each character a different color text, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Or the fonts would have multicolored borders on them. That was really cool. It's how would I know? I would know it was a girl character speaking because the text was pink, right? And I would know that it was the villain was speaking because the text had little fire animation that surrounded it.
Yes, but we could pine for the fan sub days all show long. But I don't know. Let's move on. I thought it was fine.
I think it's fine. I'm gonna
I think it's fine.
keep watching the episodes as they come out. I thought it was funny enough.
I just want, I will warn people, a huge amount of the jokes in the next couple episodes will be about how her sister wants to sleep with her. Lots of siscon and incest shit is on its way. So, just a heads up. If you find that shit as weird and gross as I do, that happens a lot. So, my dear friend Nokotan, mixed bag.
Mixed bag. All right.
Mixed bag.
I'm gonna give it 1.5 mixed bags out of 3.
Okay, that sounds. I would give it 2 out of 3.
You give it 2 out of 3. All
yeah,
right.
I guess I'm hotter on it than you are.
Again, I'm gonna give it a chance, but it was gonna be a 2, and then the siscon stuff knocked it down to a 1.5.
Yeah. Hey, maybe they take it out for the anime.
That would be great.
Maybe they tone it down. That would be great. Okay, what's next?
All right. You want to go? Or should I go?
Why don't you lay it on me? One of these awful looking shows.
Okay. All right. I went ahead and watched the first episode of Mayonaka Punch. Do you know anything about this one? Did you catch the preview?
No. I think I saw the thumbnail and was immediately put off.
It's was not as okay. I wanna say it was not as bad as I thought it was gonna be, based off of the premise alone. Which is,
what's the premise?
The premise is a YouTuber. Main girl is a YouTuber, and the first episode is about how she gets kicked out of her YouTubing trio that she's been making videos with since high school.
The Try Guys.
Yeah, she got canceled and got kicked out of the Try Guys. Yeah.
Oh shit.
Honestly, she did way less than what the Try Guys guy did. It was nowhere near that level.
She didn't sleep with one of her coworkers' wives.
No, she punched her coworker live on camera. That is why she got canceled.
Well, that is kind of bad. I mean, that is bad.
Yeah, it's not a good look. It's not
a good look.
It's not a good look. I'm not saying that it was wrong. She was making an unsafe work environment, and honestly, she has a pretty bad drinking problem on top of this, on top of everything. But we'll see if they address that later.
Hold on. What did she punch the other person for?
As yet to be revealed.
That's a dangling thread?
So all we know is that it starts with her 2 ex-video partners making an apology video for their previous one, and kind of low-key throwing shade on her for all of the content that she'd contributed to the channel. She's like, so we hope that going forward, all of our content is going to be much better now.
Ooh, boy.
And it's her obviously watching this live apology stream from a cafe, trying to keep her cool, which she is not.
You gotta not watch. You can't watch that. It's just gonna hurt.
Oh no, you don't want to watch your own canceling.
Yeah,
it's a gruesome thing. It can only lead to bad stuff, which is absolutely what happens in her case. She is okay. Well, first of all, we get the quick flashback to why she got canceled, which is she punched her coworker. Why she was angry enough to punch her coworker, we don't know yet. So first thing she does. Obviously, and this is her emotions talking at this point. She sets up her own new solo channel. Very bad PR move. Not a good look at all. It's basically admitting defeat at that point.
Sure.
Yeah. And so, in the desperate attempt to try and draw her old audience over to her new channel, she goes to an abandoned hospital to go do some urban spelunking, as the kids call it.
Oh no!
Yeah, and you know what she finds? You know what she finds at this abandoned hospital?
A ghost?
Close. vampire.
Oh shit. Mm-hmm. A real one?
A sexy girl vampire.
Oh,
Oh, your enthusiasm immediately went down.
Japan is littered with those.
Yeah, they're on every street corner.
Yeah, I mean, you can't throw a quarter without bouncing off one.
And so the premise is about this chick who, in a desperate attempt to save her life from being eaten by a vampire, says, if you help me get my channel to 1 million views, I'll let you suck my blood or whatever. Because, of course, obviously, being an anime, she has super special yummy blood or whatever.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, I mean, it's a staple.
Yeah.
And so the thing about this vampire is that she lives in a big mansion and has just recently woken up from a 20-year slumber.
Okay.
She doesn't understand, like, what smartphones are or what the internet is.
Okay. I see the gag. Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
She saw 9/11 happen and was like, I'm immediately going to go to sleep forever.
She was like, that was fun. I'm going to go take a nap.
Anyway, goodbye.
Yeah.
I never would have guessed about the vampire thing. I got to be honest.
Yeah.
I did not see that coming.
It was a twist for me, too. It was not what I expected. I thought it was the general setup is pretty funny. They have a good dynamic. The vampire chick is very, she is they have the very obvious straight man, crazy man dynamic, right?
Sure.
She's the wacky one. She can do weird vampire wacky stuff. She has wings. She can fly, and she's
out of touch with youth culture.
Yes, she's out of touch with youth culture. Although she does adapt to using a smartphone very quickly. Like, she gets that, like, super quick.
You know what? It's because, much like in movies and TV over the last 5 or 6 years, watching somebody not be able to use a smartphone is insanely frustrating to young audiences. Like, it drives them fucking
just
crazy.
Just touch it. You just touch the icon.
It's like, how do you not get this? Can I be honest? You were kind of going over the whole like band Fallout scenario at first, and I was like, oh shit, this is sort of like, the Police, they put out their first like EP with a different guitarist, a guy named Henry Padovani instead of Andy Summers. And it didn't do anything at all. And they went on vacation, basically. And on vacation, they brought Andy Summers in one day while they were all just chilling and Henry wasn't there. And they cut a new album, and then they just never called him again. I kind of thought, oh shit, this is like that, except it's a show about Henry trying to get his revenge, And I was like, oh, that's actually kind of cool.
I mean, it is kind of like that, just if he had the help of a vampire to get his revenge.
If they were down in the Bahamas putting together their new sound and Henry had just accidentally stumbled into a crypt in Bavaria.
Yes.
That would be so fucking cool. Okay, now, I mean, I kind of like that. I do like that.
Okay, now, before you say that, I do want to say that it is not devoid of anime crimes.
Oh, I never assumed it was. Once you get a anime little girl vampire. Oh, I assume she's a little girl vampire.
You're
in the
close.
Bakemonogatari tradition.
You're close. The out of touch vampire is an adult vampire. Now she does have an eternal little girl vampire like Renfield that she keeps around.
Okay. Yes, there had to be at least one.
Yeah, there had to be at least one. And so her gag is that she's been awake the last 20 years because she's not like a full vampire. She's a Renfield, and she's been taking care of the manor.
Right.
And it is actually quite a funny gag when they do it, but when main vampire first wakes up, she's like, oh, hey, I've been taking care of the house while you were asleep. Anyway, I invested in Bitcoin and lost all your money, so we have a bunch of debt. And that is... That is her impetus for also wanting to do the internet videos.
Okay, I see. It's all coming together.
Yeah.
And the little Renfield girl she has some kind of like Twitch addiction or something.
We haven't seen that quite yet.
Yeah.
She's into day trading on the stocks.
Okay, she's
Yeah.
a day trader. I always assumed like that character would also be like a real Twitch simp for some fucking streamer or whatever.
That would make sense. She's mostly just a simp for the vampire, though.
Well, of Renfield, obviously. I mean,
Yeah,
come on.
yeah.
That was the big problem with that Renfield movie that came out recently, right?
You know what? I liked that movie. I liked
You
it
liked
just
that
fine.
movie?
Yeah.
But he's a really bad Renfield. Like, that's a shitty-ass Renfield.
He wasn't a great Renfield, but it was a stellar Nicolas Cage as Dracula. Like, come on.
Well, of course. Of course. I read something funny about that earlier. That Nicolas Cage, when he was doing the first vampire in Vampire's Kiss, and then later in this movie, his kind of vampire voice and affectation is based on his dad.
Really?
Yeah, he says that in an interview, which is very funny to me. That is
I thought you were going to say about how he refused to take out the prosthetic teeth even when they were doing live dialogue takes.
No, that's cool as hell. I love it. God, Nicolas Cage is so fucking cool. I love him so much.
So that was Mayonaka Punch, the first episode.
All right, and it would have been better if Nicolas Cage was the vampire. I can.
Oh,
only
absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
No, 100%. Or the Renfield. Either
either
character.
one.
Yeah.
Or the streamer. Imagine
Yeah.
if there were two cute anime girls and Nicolas Cage, and they have to throw Nicolas Cage out because he's creeping out their audience. Okay, all right. Well, that sounds fine, I guess.
You know what? It was fine. It was fine.
Okay,
I'm gonna give it.
yeah.
I'm gonna give it 2 out of 3.
Okay. Well, let me tell you about this next one here. Let me go next.
All right. Yeah. Give me one.
So, to lay the groundwork, I need to ask you, are you familiar with the concept of the gray man?
Wasn't that a Chris Evans action movie?
It was a recent Ryan Gosling action movie, an adaptation of some kind of sort of Tom Clancy-esque like spy novel series.
It's like a spy, but you just dress super plain so you don't stand out in a crowd. Is that it?
Yes, sort of. Yeah. So, if you are a gray man, some of the situations you generally want to, let's say, stick with boring colors for your clothes. You're wearing black grays, right?
Mm-hmm.
Browns. You always consider the context of your environment, right? If bright colors are, all around you, you would want to adjust your kit. You always want to keep accessories to a minimum. You don't wear expensive watches, chains, rings. You don't keep as many personal items as you want. You want to make sure that you are unadorned. You want to be tactical, but without drawing any kind of, attention to yourself, right? You need to be as inconspicuous as possible.
If I saw that person in a crowd, they would immediately be the most suspicious person there. Immediately.
Well, then they're a bad gray man. They don't have the skills.
I mean, I don't know what to say. Like, people dress with, like, color and accessories. It's not normal to dress like that.
You want to be the perfect median human being,
Okay, no, I get the concept, so...
Yes.
So
I watched a show called Shoshimin, How to Become Ordinary.
is this about that? Is this about a spy trying to become ordinary?
Sort of. This is a show that I found insanely infuriating. I could not stop yelling at the TV while we watched this.
Well, he would almost become ordinary, and then he would just stop at the last moment.
Yeah, they
and
fuck
it was
up.
very frustrating.
This is a show about two teenagers who spend the entire episode talking about essentially how they want to go gray. The entire episode, episode 1, is a boy and a girl, high schoolers, having conversation after conversation after conversation of how they want to go gray. They want to be gray. They want to be ordinary. They want to live ordinary lives. Apparently not understanding that talking about that constantly is fucking weird.
It's weird.
It's really weird and off-putting.
Yeah, no, who talks like that?
It's really strange.
It comes off as like a desperate rejection of identity for some reason, and I can't figure it out.
I was really off-put that element in particular, but also And, this goes against one of our unspoken rules is, you're not supposed to draw too much from an OP. When you're watching the opening credits, you're not supposed to assume everything is literal, right?
Right.
Because that'll fuck you up as you watch a show.
I mean, sometimes it is all literal, though.
Sometimes it is incredibly literal, and they show you all the characters that are going to appear in the season.
I mean, I'm thinking of the
surprises.
Stone Ocean intro, and it's the whole thing. It's the whole story.
It's the whole thing, yes. I prefer, you know what? Go Loser Ranger, we talked about how much we liked it. I don't know if we ever mentioned, the opening credits for Go Loser Ranger are really fucking good.
You know what? I usually have my video player set to auto skip through the opening scenes.
Wow.
I would have to go back and rewatch that one.
They are really, really good. I really like those. They're probably like the best ones in recent memory.
As long as we're on the topic, the closing credits animation for Suicide Squad, this guy is really bad and off-putting. I do not like it. It is Amanda Waller doing like a sexy Shakira dance, trying to seduce all of the Suicide Squad members.
You're lying to me. Don't lie to me, Nate.
I will send you the video after we're done here, and you will...
That can't be real. That cannot be a real thing.
Okay, no, fuck you. We're pausing so you can watch this video.
Oh my God.
And then we're going to come back and you will give me your live reaction.
This sounds upsetting. I'm not sure I want to watch this.
Yeah.
It sounds awful.
I'm so upset that you made me drop my water.
This is already cursed then. I don't know if I want to watch this.
Oh man, you have no idea.
Fine. All right, I'm turning it on. It's sort of like a modern sort of 808 style pop song. The cast is all posing. King Shark is in overalls. Amanda Waller's doing the Dio. Oh, God, now she's doing TikTok dances. Oh, my God, what the fuck? Harley Quinn doing a bunch of hip-hop poses. Amanda Waller doing more TikTok dancing and Dio poses. She's just TikTok dancing and doing Dio poses.
Okay, I'm back.
Sort of like a bad version of the Dora de Doro ending credits, without like any of the charm or weirdness, and more TikTok dancing.
Always with the TikTok dancing with you kids.
Harley Quinn doing a bunch of hip hop poses.
Yeah, so that is the animation they decided to go with for the end of Suicide Squad.
Yeah, I skipped the ending. I gotta admit, I did not watch the credits for that.
Good. Okay, now back to your regularly scheduled anime death spiral.
Jesus Christ! Now I have to like remount. Okay, give me a second. Okay, Shoshimin, How to Become Ordinary, the teenagers who want to go gray man.
Yeah, why do they want to go Grayman?
Now, this is confusing. I will give you my theories. Now, like I was saying, you cannot take opening credits literally. You will usually be disappointed. But I didn't heed my own advice.
You drank your own juice.
And the opening is a pair of white wolves, like running around and doing cool stuff. And they have like shiny eyes. And then the episode starts and we see a teen boy and a teen girl like getting into their preferred high school. And they have the shiny eyes.
Oh, they're lone wolves together.
We could draw certain inferences, right? We could say, well, in a typical anime, this might be signaling that they're like wolfmen's. They're wolfmen's. They're Javier Bardem's.
Well, they already did that with Wolf's Rain. That's what that whole anime was about.
Yes, but Wolf's Rain is like a sexy sci-fi dystopia. This is just two kids going to high school and talking about how much they want to go gray.
Okay.
Most of the episode is taken up with the boy sort of ignoring his friend who wants to go get limited edition strawberry tarts. You know, that whole thing.
That's what I would do. They're limited edition.
Yeah, and school gets out like pretty late, like around 4, and they're usually sold out by like 5, Mm-hmm. And so she's like, "Hey, we gotta get going." And the boy's like, "Hold on a second, my friend just texted me. He needs help." And he goes and he meets up with his friend, and his friend's like doing like, I don't know, like b-boy poses with like his like lackey hanger-ons. And this like other girl who's looking bashful, and his big imposing friend is like, "Hey, this chick lost her bag. We gotta go look for it. We're gonna look all over school." And for some reason, the boy who should be taking his girl to go get strawberry tarts, limited edition, I might add, decides, yes, I will help these people I've never met, because not helping would somehow undo his grayness? Question mark, question mark, question mark.
Yes, inserting myself into a situation that I have no business with is a total way to stay incognito.
Yes, this is weird. This is very strange.
It's counterintuitive. It's counterproductive to his goal.
Yes. You'd think being a very casual acquaintance with people would be the most gray, and in fact, staying late after school to comb the gymnasium and grounds, etc.
That
for
would
somebody's
only
purse.
endear you to people. That's the opposite of what you want to do.
It draws a lot of attention. And you know who's out after school, right? It's just the sports kids.
It's just the sports kids and the delinquents.
He's not in a sports uniform, so he's drawing crazy amounts of attention. What is he doing? He's fucking up. He's not going gray. He's not going gray at all. And yet...
Is he the one that finds the bag?
Yes, he finds the bag. He
That brings even more attention.
Yes, he goes through a series of deductions. I guess we're positing that he is like a very thoughtful and observant character, right? And so he very
every
quickly...
motherfucker thinks they're light Yagami.
Yes. He very quickly tracks down the bag, and he also discovers all the the ulterior motives that led to the bag being absconded with. All of this
I thought you were going to say all of the alternative albums.
Yes, all the indie albums.
Yeah.
No, he deduces the entire thing, not just where the bag is, but like who took it and why. And it turns out there was a rogue love letter in the mix, and that's
okay.
That was like a whole thing.
These Japanese kids need to stop writing out their feelings where people can find them and use them against each other.
It's worse than that, dude. He writes a letter. This weirdo writes a letter, and then like sneaks it into the chick's purse when she's not looking. That's fucking weird. Don't do that.
That's stalker behavior.
That's really weird, you guys. Don't do that.
Don't ever do that. I don't want to speak for all women, but I think I can take an educated guess here and speak for all women when I say that they don't like that. Don't do that.
Now,
it's weird.
I know we say this on the show a lot, but I do want to speak for all women and say don't go through their bags and put shit in there. Like, don't do that. And so our boy completely fails in his day one mission of going gray, and he meets up with his chick, and she's been very pathetically just sitting on a bench waiting for him to finish this search, right?
That's the grayest shit ever.
No, not really, because she's the only one there. Again, this is after school. She's the only girl left sitting on a bench. Everybody's looking at her like, why are you still here?
Well, yeah, the Japanese schools don't let girls stay there after hours.
Well, not unless, something weird's going on, like you had your bag stolen and you've hired a bunch of flunkies to search the school for it.
Hey, they resent being described as flunkies. They are goons.
They are definitely goons, but also they are flunky coded. Flunky coded goons. Okay. But she's just been like scrolling Twitter this whole time, and he finally shows up and he's like, "Hey, sorry about that. I know how important these tarts were to you, but I had to go help a stranger with their like bizarre interpersonal problems. Let's go." And then they do another non-gray thing, in that she rides side saddle on the back of his bike. And don't you know that's illegal? That's illegal in Japan.
You can't do that.
You can't do that.
Hey, did they ride past a police station? Oh boy.
No, just over the bridge and then around those kind of really vague like fields that are under the bridge, where characters are always hanging out in anime. Mm-hmm. Sort of like very low tide.
I assume those
rivers.
are mythical because we have no similar thing in any of the American infrastructure around here.
No, I've hung out under a bridge, but it was like gross and weird. You don't want to like be down there.
Yeah, you don't actually want to be under an American bridge or like under an overpass. It's kind of it's not a good place. It's not great.
Yeah, you only go there out of necessity. Mm-hmm. They just kind of chill there and have like philosophical conversations. So we are treated to an extended sequence of Bakemonogatari-esque long and short cuts sort of evoking a sort of dreamlike state while the characters discuss their like perhaps metaphorical feelings about going gray. Lots of dreamlike shots. Lots of people. We're seeing people through their reflections on the water. Lots of characters appearing with their shoes on and their shoes off in the water, out of the water. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
I'm frustrated just hearing you describe this.
Yes, and then finally we cut. We skip the entire exciting part about getting the tarts. They don't bother to show us that. We don't get to see like, oh, they're just in time for the tarts, or like, oh, they missed the tarts, but somebody is like, oh, they had an extra one, and so they give the girl one. We don't get any of that. We just cut to a fucking 7-Eleven, and the boy is like reading a Shonen Jump, and the girl's out of sight, and we hear some delinquents, and then one of the delinquents steals his bike. But not before inexplicably throwing the tarts on the ground face up so that they're completely destroyed.
Wait, the bullies throw his tarts on the ground?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just throw them on the ground. They were on the back of the bike. And when the guy steals the bike, he just throws them on the ground.
I mean, getting your bike stolen is not very incognito. I mean, that actually, I feel like it draws attention to you.
It's
right?
a very non-gray thing to happen to you.
Why did he do that? Why did he have them steal his bike like that?
He shouldn't have done that. He definitely shouldn't have done that.
He shouldn't have done that.
So by the end of the episode, I was kind of really hoping for at least one hint that the opening was literal, that we would have these characters. The reason that they want to go gray is because they are wolves and they're trying to live as humans, right? But the longer the episode went on, the more and more I suspected that is metaphorical, strictly metaphorical. And in fact, this is one of those
these are just
shows.
a couple of little Holden Caulfields without a John Lennon to shoot.
Yes, and that the idea of being a wolf was in fact one of these allusions to trauma, and this was in fact one of those anime with heavy literary aspirations, you know?
Oh boy, okay. Right.
But with like no hook whatsoever. I was infuriated by this.
Listen, when is anime gonna stop trying to get us to treat it like it's art? Like, come on. The point is past. That ship has sailed. Definitively, anime is not art.
Well, the thing that really got me was that, especially that sequence like I described under the bridge where they're having their philosophical conversation, is clearly aping from Bakemonogatari, which has a very distinctive visual style to adapt a very distinctive literary style that's in the books that they're adapting. Mm-hmm. Except in those books, you know, the hook is that there are 1,000-year-old vampire girls and, giant monsters and shit. And the conversations they're having are usually accompanied, the philosophical and metaphorical conversations they're having in Bakemonogatari are accompanied with really bizarre imagery and a lot of like meaningful imagery that kind of deepens what's happening in the story and creates a new dimension that adds intrigue and mystery to what's happening and allows you to like process it in different ways, which is good. That's what's good about Bakemonogatari. And they're clearly trying to emulate that style, but there's nothing there. They don't add any new dimension. They just mangle the one dimension that they're already working on. I found this insanely infuriating. I was screaming at the screen. I think this fucking sucks. This might be the worst thing I watched.
What? Sorry, I wasn't paying attention. You mentioned Bakemonogatari, and I brought up that toothbrush scene again. I've just been watching that.
There are many dimensions. Many dimensions. You can imagine the toothbrushing as metaphorical. You can imagine it as literal. You can imagine it as an allegory for certain things. It's a literary reference.
Okay. Shoshimin, How to Become Normal.
Fuck it, son.
You really liked that one.
God damn it. This is the worst. This is the worst show so far.
The worst part is that for someone like me who may legitimately seeking out how to become normal, I feel like it doesn't. It probably doesn't offer many answers.
No, and that's another dimension is like the kid showing off his like hyper competence is the completely wrong direction. You want to be like a little gremlin who wants to become normal. Like that's a much more interesting angle than like I don't want to stand out because I'm like tall and handsome and competent. That's bad. It's kind of what's wrong with casting somebody like Ryan Gosling to play a gray man. He's incredibly handsome. He stands out wherever he goes. Like he's not a good gray man.
No, he's big and tall and traditionally good looking.
Yeah, it's bad. That's bad. It's stupid and bad. Oh fuck. Okay, tell me about another premiere. We gotta whip through these.
All right. Hey, well, let me tell you about a couple of kings who are tall and handsome and good looking and exude power with every step they take. I am, of course, talking about Godzilla X Kong, the new empire, baby.
That's not a premiere.
Yes, it is.
No, it's
anime.
not.
It's anime. It's all anime in there, buddy. I don't know what to tell you.
And it's not a premiere. It did not premiere Summer Anime 2024 season.
It just premiered on HBO Max, which is where I watched it. I'm counting that as a premiere for me.
All right, fine. Say your bit about this dumbass cash grab.
You keep saying that, but it was legitimately the most fun that I've had with one of these MonsterVerse Godzilla movies for a while. And it's crazy to think how far we've come. In the series, it's like comparing the first Fast and the Furious movie where they're stealing like radios and shit to the most recent one where they're shooting cars like in space out of cannons at each other.
Sure. The curse of escalation.
Yeah. Well, it's, the one thing that really was in my mind the entire time watching this was that scene in the 2014 Gareth Edwards Godzilla. The one, the Halo jump scene, right? The hyped one that they used in the trailer.
Yes, the one good part of that movie.
Yeah. And how far we've come since that scene. Because if you think about it, the way they treat Godzilla in that movie, in the 2014 one, is almost entirely in service to that scene, making that scene work. And so when we see Godzilla in the movie, it's always from afar, and it's always clouded in some kind of smoke or vapor or behind a building or just over the crest of a hill, right?
Sure. And a decision I'm not against, by the way. I think that's actually pretty good.
I think it's great. I've always been a less is more kind of guy, especially in monster movies. Especially when you are trying to make the monster intimidating and scary, right?
Yes, establish a sense of scale, which is the single most important thing you have to do when you're talking about giant monsters.
Which is exactly why the Halo jump scene works so much, is because we've been given these little snippets of Godzilla, from the distance, and finally this is us getting up close to him with a camera, the audience. And it's the scale of the creature is so much bigger than we had comprehended. He's literally a landmark that they are falling around. And then we cut to Godzilla X Kong, the new empire, where he is doing like wombo combo double jumps with King Kong, who has a robot arm now, by the way. Yes. I do want to point that out. He has a fucking power fist that can like shoot. He can shoot force field lasers with it. And do mega punches.
Right. Now, see this. That's great that you bring that up, because this is my big problem with these movies, and that one in particular. It's not a Godzilla versus Kong movie. You're describing a Rampage movie. This is Rampage.
Well, it's not called Godzilla versus Kong. It's called Godzilla X Kong.
Yes, but it shouldn't be called that.
In the Hunter x Hunter lingo, Godzilla Kong.
Godzilla Kong. But it should be called that. It should be called Rampage, because you are talking about a Rampage movie.
But they made a shitty Rampage movie with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and nobody liked it.
Yes, they did. That's because the monsters didn't turn into little naked people.
Well, I mean, that was my favorite part of the original Rampage games.
Yeah, they fucked it up. And the only reason to call this movie Godzilla X Kong is because they wanted to sidestep the issue of the naked little people.
Exactly. Except they do kind of have a bunch of naked little people in the form of. Did I mention that the film takes place inside the center of the Earth? This film series has gone full in on Hollow Earth conspiracy theory. By the way,
Hollow Earth, and there are mole men, right?
Yes. Well, there are a tribe of psychic primitive humans who are so in touch with the natural world that they can commune with the giant monsters, right?
Yes, the Morlocks.
Don't call them that.
You're describing Morlocks.
No, the Morlocks were mutated and weird. They were evil. What were the other ones? The ones that the Morlocks
evil?
ate.
They're not evil. The quote unquote good ones are called the Eloi.
Yeah.
In the story, and they're only good because they're basically like white.
Hey, you said that, not me.
Hey, look, the book was written in like 1860 or some shit, okay? It was not good.
So anyway, the Morlocks, they can psychic talk with the monsters, and they do the classic Godzilla trope of having a psychic little girl who can talk to Mothra. Right?
Sure.
Mothra is the linchpin in this. And so there is an anime trio going on between Godzilla, Mothra, and King Kong. They are a team. They are a Naru Sasukura.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Godzilla's obviously Sasuke.
Yes. Well, obviously. Absolutely.
Obviously. Definitely.
And so the premise of the film is that Kong, having now defeated all of the monsters on surface Earth, is sad and lonely. Because Godzilla doesn't want to hang out with him anymore. Godzilla just wants to go fuck off and swim in the ocean and eat fish. And so he goes into the Hollow Earth in search of family, where he finds an entire giant ape society living inside of the Hollow Earth.
Oh, so that's what's in there.
Yep.
Wow.
Got a bunch of big old apes in there.
Damn. And they cause all the earthquakes, right? With their gregarious dancing.
It very much could be implied that is the case. I can't say that that's not happening. And so the ape society is ruled by an evil, cruel ape king. He's a bad ape king. He's not a good ape king.
Okay,
like
is
Kong
he an ape or is he an orangutan? Because usually they make it the orangutan, sort of like Jungle Book style.
No, he looks more. Okay, so if Kong is gorilla coated, this one looks more kind of chimp coated. He's long and gangly, right? He's got big old skinny arms.
Okay, all right. Evil chimp.
And his main weapon is a big whip made out of the spine of a dead Godzilla. How cool is that? Come on.
I mean, that's cool, but it does imply that there is a dead Godzilla, which is sad.
Well, yeah. But the thing is that, and this is something they never explain, and I respect them for it. For some reason, attached to the end of this bone whip is a magic dagger that lets him mind control Godzillas.
Huh.
And so he uses this magic mind controlling Godzilla dagger to mind control an ice Godzilla that they name Shimo for some reason. Also unexplained.
Shimo?
Yeah, Shimo. It's a giant ice Godzilla.
What?
Who instead of atomic breath has atomic ice breath.
What?
And so the giant evil ape king rides the ice Godzilla to the surface world. By the way, the pyramids.
Are you describing a dream you had?
No, this happened in the movie.
Are you sure?
Yes.
What the fuck
this
are
is
you
what
talking about?
This is the story Adam Wingard wanted to tell us.
Okay, all right. Okay. I'm just going to have to take your word for it.
And so he rides the giant ice Godzilla to the surface world through the pyramids, which are portals to the Hollow Earth, by the way. It seems obvious in retrospect, honestly. And up there, he awakens a new monster, a giant sea serpent, a pink sea serpent.
Yeah, and it had your mom's face, but she didn't have eyes, and she was saying something that you couldn't quite understand, but you knew it had something with you going to bed.
And then Godzilla eats the pink sea serpent, and he turns pink. He turns into a pink Godzilla, just like my T-shirt.
Wow, just like the T-shirt.
And he shoots a giant pink atomic energy blast And then they have a big fight where he fights the Ice Godzilla, and King Kong fights the evil the Scar King gorilla, and then they win, and then Kong gets to go be king of the Hollow Earth people. And Mothra was there, and she was like, she gives them bonuses. She gives them stat bonuses.
She gives them stat bonuses.
Yeah, you see when her and Kong and Godzilla are working in tandem, she kind of has like a synergy bonus that she gives them.
Okay, all right. So this is kind of like a Marvel vs. Capcom 3.
Yeah.
Like party synergy thing.
I mean, it is just wrestling. It's just straight up WWE wrestling shit, all up and down. I had a great time. Go see it. 4 out of 3 bags. It's great. Dan Stevens is
We
there.
have more anime to talk about. I cannot abide this. We have got to get through these anime.
All right. It's gonna be a long one, folks. Let's buckle down. Talk about some more anime.
Christ. Let me just can we just get through this? I've only got 2 more.
Please, no. Talk about the anime. I want to hear about it. Oh, I'd love to hear about the anime.
Oh, you love anime now?
Yeah,
you love anime now, huh?
Love
you
anime
love it
now.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
love it now, huh? Okay, well, enough of your fucking dream diary.
I think it's
wanna
great.
Talk about,
oh,
I
it's
want to
really
talk about
cool.
I want to talk about the Elusive Samurai, the big show this season.
Oh, this is the big show this season?
It is. I'm not joking. This is by the Assassination Classroom guy. This is the big show, and this is from like production budget alone. This is the big show. This shit is animated to within an inch of its life. This is the best looking premiere by a country and city mile. Like, this thing is fucking streets ahead. This is an insane looking show.
Okay, all right. Well, I do love a good animated show. It is a perk of the medium, I will say.
Yes. I have to say I wish it was something else, because the plot that this incredible animation and direction and photography, it's truly a trifecta, is attached to is a story about like a shitty little prince who has been deposed from his throne and has to go into hiding until he's powerful enough to reclaim
it's interesting that you say that, because, and I didn't mention this, I'm just going to take a step back real quick. Mayonaka Punch was way over animated for what the plot was.
Yeah?
That really threw me for a loop there. Yeah, it was higher quality than I would say 90% of the shows that are premiering right now. It was weird.
That's weird.
But okay, Elusive Samurai seems to be in the same boat.
Elusive Samurai has the whole shit going on. Everything about it is jaw-dropping, except for the main thrust of the story, which I find incredibly grating, unfortunately. I will have to continue watching it because, again, like I said, this first episode is stunning. There are sequences here that are like movie level shit. It is really impressive. I just, personally, I just happen to be a pretty big Prince hater. Not the Minnesota one.
He was all right.
The monarchist one.
Okay, yeah.
Prince William, Prince Harry, etc., etc.
All princes are bad.
APAB.
There were never any good princes.
APAB.
Prince of Tennis, bad.
I've never read Prince of Tennis. I wonder if he actually is a prince. That wouldn't surprise me at all if he was actually like some kind of royalty.
I don't think so. I think they're being just a little bit flowery with their language in that one. But then again, it is a series where he uses a tennis ball to create a black hole.
Yeah.
So anything's possible.
And also, in Eye Shield 21, they do have eye shields. So anything is possible.
Anything is possible.
So it's a little kid and his, uncle or whatever, kills his dad and murders a bunch of people and steals the throne.
Hackneyed Hamlet shit.
Yeah, it's all that shit. It's all secondhand Shakespearean stuff, or historical drama stuff. I should say Shakespearean stuff. That's discounting the actual Japanese history part of it.
Yeah, I'm sure that there were plenty of people who did get killed by their brother for political reasons.
Yeah, I think it probably happened a lot. I'm looking at you, William. I know what happened with Diana, you motherfuckers. I know what happened.
Old Sweaty Billy is what they call him.
Look, you are not hiding it very well. We all know what happened with Diana. Okay. The problem I had with the Elusive Samurai, which is, again, this is going to be the standout of this season, is that in typical anime fashion, the tonal shifts, even in a single episode, are so wildly vast that I had multiple cases of whiplash. It is wild. It goes from like goofy, weird shit and then cuts directly to like rapes and beheadings.
Ugh.
Like as hard as you can fucking go. And then just cuts back to like a kid goofing off. Wow.
Maybe it's a directorial choice, like, you know, like David Lynch framing suburbia against organized crime.
I think it's just the necessity of trying to like underline the fact that there is actual like serious danger, you know? This child is in actual peril. And they just were like, well, we're just going to fucking go for it. Yeah, cut people's heads off. And do it like really graphically, like overly graphically. It's wild. It is absolutely wild when it happens, you know? And then there's also all this stuff about how like, oh, the kid wants to die because he'd rather like die with his family than live in shame, you know? And I find all that stuff to be very eye-rolly. But it's mostly that I really hate monarchies and I don't care that he was deposed because fuck him.
Yeah, fuck him.
Fuck him and his stupid family too.
Fuck him.
Fuck him. Fuck the people that took his throne. Fuck his family for having the throne in the first place. Like, fuck all of them.
Yeah, screw that kid.
Samurai fucking suck. I hate samurai. I don't know how much more I can say it on this show, but samurai fucking suck, and I hate them.
Yeah, a cab to samurai. That's what I say.
He's an elusive samurai? Okay, yeah, get out of my fucking face. Like,
become a little bit more elusive,
yeah,
buddy.
You gotta be a little bit more elusive. Stay out of my sight, man. Like, fuck off. Anyway, what an incredibly beautiful show. What a shame about the story. You got another show?
No. I didn't watch anything else.
I've given you one chance. We're gonna move on here.
That was all the anime that I watched.
I've got one show. I've got another show to talk about.
Oh God. Okay. All right. I watched Plus Size Elf.
He watched it. Oh my God, he admitted it.
I just want to say that I was not wrong about it. It is just straight up pornographic. It's just
wrong. I'm not wrong.
I am not wrong.
I'm not wrong. Yes, but is that were you surprised by that? I certainly wouldn't have been surprised.
I thought that it was gonna be,
light arrow.
Yeah, light arrow, but no, they just the recurring gag of her being so plus size that her clothes just explode off of her randomly.
Is that what happens?
How many times do you think you can fit that into an 11-minute episode? Come on.
Her clothes explode off of her multiple times in one episode.
Yeah, and they're short episodes. They're 11 minutes.
Wait, they're 11 minutes?
Yes, they are 11 minutes long.
Damn, this chick must have like a lot of clothes.
Well, they just keep giving her clothes because otherwise she would walk around naked. Because she's an elf and she's from another world that has different morality standards than us.
Sure. And by another world, you mean like the forest.
Well, there is a isekai gate in Tokyo Central Park, and she can just walk through, apparently from the other world side anytime she wants. But to get back, there is a weight limit.
Wait, hold on. There's no TSA, just a scale?
Yep, a magical scale. There's no attendant whatsoever. It's just like a magical door.
She doesn't even need a passport?
No, you just have to be skinny.
Okay, so 9/11 didn't happen in this world.
Nope. As far as I can tell, it's a more perfect world for it.
An idealist world filled with plus-sized elves.
So the idea is that she was a regular a moderately sized elf when she originally came here, and then she got addicted to French fries and gained too much weight to go back to her world.
Right, right.
And so now, with the help of, they keep calling him a massage therapist, but he's more like a dietitian. He is helping her lose weight to go back to her own world, which she does at the end of that 11-minute episode.
Oh, great.
And then she immediately comes back and eats French fries and gets plus size again.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Now, here's my one question. When you were in Japan, did you try the fries?
I didn't have any French fries while I was there.
You didn't try any French fries.
So, as much as the Japanese fast food gets, memed from what I've seen, when I was there,
McDonald's
I made
girl.
a concerted effort to not go to any American franchises.
Wow, what a fool you are.
Well, I am already I'm already planning to go back, and it's on my list for next time. They can't keep me away, despite the multiple court orders.
Okay, all right. Well, as long as you're being a little more thorough the next time. Mm-hmm. What an oversight, though.
Yeah.
What an own goal.
Yeah, I know. Okay, so enough about plus size elf.
Now, what was there more than one plus size elf in episode 1? That's the only other thing I want to know.
Technically, yes, but not really. We get this kind of Men in Black-esque montage at the end, kind of going back over all of these background characters that were featured, and it's like, oh, there's a bunch of mythical elves and fantasy creatures living incognito in our society.
Right.
All getting fat off French fries, apparently.
They all love French fries. No variation there.
So this was weird, exploitative, uncomfortable to watch, sophomoric, and yeah, I will be watching more of it.
This is basically what people picture, non-anime watchers picture when they think about anime.
It's every bad stereotype
Yes, that's great.
of
Okay,
anime rolled into one.
I have one more that's slightly less grotesque than that.
Okay, thank God.
All right, I watched Tasuketsu, Fate of the Majority.
You were talking about this one last time. This is your big death game you were looking forward to.
This was the big one that I was excited about. This is the death game. And I have mixed feelings. I'm happy that unlike last season with that weird God game one that seemed like it was going to be a death game, then turned out to not be a death game.
That was one of the most baffling first episodes that I've ever seen. It was so it was such a nothing plot and so overly complicated at the same time.
Yes. So I was pleasantly surprised. It's not that. This is firmly a death game. Essentially, half of all Japanese people die within the first 5 minutes of the show. Pretty heavy. I mean, that's a good kill count for a death game. They're usually, most death games, you're dealing with maybe.
From my experience, you're looking at as a good rate one person or maybe one couple per episode. If you're wiping out half of a country's population willy-nilly like that, that's got to be a good death game.
And that's the character's estimate. They don't even know for sure how many people died. That's just them like ballparking it. And for, most death games, you're talking about maybe a school's worth at best. So maybe 1,000 people. We're in multiple millions at this point, right off the bat, which is great.
I mean,
So I'm already happy.
I'm an American, so those numbers really mean nothing to me in terms of emotional impact.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking basically American gun violence numbers, like per day.
Oh, no. American death game.
Oh, America is a death game. I'm sorry. Anyway, so there were some interesting things here. We have, they threw me off right away because one of the Virtue Boy's best friends is a teal-haired hair clip guy. And I'm telling my watch partners, hey, teal-haired hair clip guy, he's going to make it pretty far. That's, teal hairs, they usually go pretty far. He dies immediately. Within round 1, he's gone.
Oh, no.
So I'm already like, I'm shook.
We're breaking conventions.
They killed Teal Hair.
How could they do that?
And I like that Justice Boy and his compatriots, they're playing it a little bit all over the place. We get a kind of a little bit of a like lightweight shonen stuff, but then again, like one of the other characters like just finds a fucking handgun on the street and starts shooting at them, which is weird.
Again, a perfectly normal American thing to do.
Yeah, I mean, but it's Japan, so it is a little weird. And then at the end of the episode, the main character dies. Great move. Now, he's not going to stay dead.
They rarely do. They rarely stay dead.
This is not a big spoiler, essentially. You know, this is how these things go. But it's a good hook. It's a great hook to get you to watch episode 2. Because the premise is that this mysterious figure called the Emperor, again, pretty standard death game stuff, asks a question, it seems like every day or every 2 days, and whoever answers in the majority lives, everyone else dies, right? Mm-hmm. And part of it is that as they play, the game part is that they go around and now fairly empty Tokyo and try to find certain things. It's sort of a scavenger hunty kind of thing. And people who find certain special things get to propose questions. And so we reached the end of day 2, and our main couple, our Justice Boy and his Justice Girlfriend, fail to find anything useful. And so they're sweating pretty hard when the question comes through. And it's this boy and girl standing there in front of a big, like, sports bar screen, you know? And the question comes on, and the question is, boy or girl?
Oh, shit.
That's good. That's good shit. I mean, they look at each other, and they're like, oh, fuck.
Oh, man.
That's good.
I mean, boy.
That's a good way to end an episode.
They should kill the boys.
They do. That's how the episode ends.
Yeah.
The boys die.
Duh, boys.
Including the boys eat shit here. Including our Justice Boy. He fucking falls to the ground. And that's cool.
Boys drool, girls rule.
That's fucking cool. That's a good way to do it. I'm not 100% sold yet. I want to see how it shakes out. But as far as like death game, pretty standard death game beats go, this one did it. It did the damn thing.
Okay. All right. Well,
I'm fairly happy with it.
A lot of people died. What more can you ask for?
A lot of people died, and they killed the main character, even if it's a pump fake. They killed the main character at the end of the first episode. That's the kind of energy I want to see people bringing to death games.
Come on. Get in there.
Come on. Yes.
Okay.
Tasuketsu, Fate of the Majority. Yes.
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 All right, let's take a break, and when we come back, we'll talk about some isekai.
Oh, God. All right. All right, we're back. I've been pondering the isekai question. A lot of people seem to like isekais because of the promise of a fantastical new world to explore. Personally, I like isekais because the promise of dying and being dead.
Oh, man, you're going to love one of these that I watched then.
Yeah, I've been thinking about that in particular. Boy, wouldn't it be nice if you were dead, Nate? That sounds really nice right now.
I mean, it would be great.
It would be great.
I would sure love it if I was dead right now.
I've been looking at what's going on in the news. And man, isekai, the first part of the isekais.
I don't trust an American truck to take me to a good other world after it hits me.
Have you ever seen Breakdown? That's how I'd like to go.
Or what was the Stephen King one about all the cars coming to life?
Oh, Maximum Overdrive.
Yeah, Maximum Overdrive.
Yeah, actually, they keep everyone alive in that so that there's humans to pump the gas. So worst of both worlds.
It's a stupid version of the Matrix.
It would be funny to be killed by a bus and then you wake up and you're in cars. Your one cheat skill is that you can service cars really well.
Oh no. And you don't want to know how they want to be serviced.
Oh yeah. But I'm assuming that's not what happens, despite the name suggesting so. I assume that's not what happens in Failure Frame.
No. Faithful listeners will know last episode I failed miserably at Remy's Isekai quiz.
Yeah, you
trap
ate it
really.
pretty hard.
It feels like entrapment. What you've done to me. I don't think that I got a fair fight, but it is what it is, and I am above all else honorable. I keep to my word. So I watch some of these horrible shows that you thrust upon me.
A few of them, yeah.
Yeah. One of them being Failure Frame, I became the strongest and annihilated everything with low-level spells.
Cool. It sounds like my Elden Ring character.
Hey.
Hey.
You liking that DLC yet? Yeah, you liking that DLC?
No, I don't like it. It sucks. It's bad.
Okay, no controversial takes here. We want listeners. Okay, so the setup of this one is about as bog standard as you can get with an isekai.
Okay.
We have our main character, whose name I cannot even remember, and I never will. I do not plan on watching more of this.
Wow, spoilers.
And his whole thing is that he is all up in his own head and butthurt all the time about the fact that nobody notices him. And in fact, his classmates like to call him Thin Air Coon.
Okay, and by butthurt, you mean that they're constantly like whipping his ass with their wet towels in the gym?
No, they're all mostly just ignoring him. There is an actual like class whipping boy that everyone bullies who is not him.
Wait, he's not the bullied kid?
He's neither the bully nor the bullied kid, although he's the ignored kid.
Well, that's way better than being bullied.
He's the quiet kid.
That sucks.
Yeah. So they are on we drop in first episode. They are all on a bus together on a class trip to somewhere.
Sure.
And one of his classmates is bullying a girl. He's stolen her romance novel that she was reading and is making fun of her for it.
Okay.
And Thin Air Coon decides that he's had his Adderall this morning. He's feeling uppity, and he stands up and says, "Hey, you shouldn't do that. And that's not a very nice thing to do." And everyone's like, "Who the fuck are you? Why are you even talking?" And
even the girl who's getting bullied is like, dude, what is wrong with you? What are you
basically
talking about?
Well, here's how much they ignore him. He stands up and says this, and everyone ignores him so hard that they just start randomly bullying the bullied kid for no reason.
That's really funny. That's actually funny. That's really funny.
And so this whole interaction ends when the class Chad, which there is no other way to explain it. He's the big, tall, blonde guy that always has a girl gang of hangers-on around him.
Sure.
And he's like, "Hey, stop that. That's not cool." And everyone's like, "Wow, you're so cool for saying that, dude. You're such a cool guy."
It is cool to say that.
Even the bully is like, "Yeah, that's real cool, man. I'm going to stop bullying because you're so cool and you told me not to."
You're so handsome. I've seen the error of my ways. I'm going to stop
Yes.
being a bully now.
And so at this point is when the class inexplicably gets transported magically into the throne room of a big castle, and there's a weird-looking lady who's dressed rather scantily, I might say.
One would assume.
Saying that she's the golden goddess, and you've all been brought here to help defeat the Demon King, and you're all going to get superpowers.
Wait, hold on. Are you saying like the bus doesn't crash or like go off the edge or something?
Nope, no, they are on the road, and there's a big flash from inside the bus, mind you, a magical flash, rainbow-colored, if you needed further indication of its magical nature. And then everyone's just standing in the throne room. No bus crash.
What was the point of the bullying if the book wasn't going to slip out of the guy's hand and then hit the bus driver in the head, causing him to swerve into oncoming traffic and them all dying?
What was the point of a lot of this, Remy? That's what I'm here to try and figure out. That's what I'm trying to explain this to you, so you can help me figure out what the point was.
I just wonder. It's like the narrative economy here seems like it's all over the place.
It's not great. They've been spending in all the wrong places so far.
Okay, so they all get turned into otherworld heroes, right?
Yes. Well, not all of them. So they all go one by one and put their hand on the magic orb, and they get ranked by letter class, mind you, from S to E, in terms of what their powers are. And they also get stats, and they get little magical bracelets that let them look up their stats. Again, they did not get transported into a video game. This is just kind of how this world works, I guess, which is a common recurring theme in isekai worlds, where it's like not a video game, it just works like one explicitly.
Yes.
You know, with numbered stats and everything.
Yes, the ultimate dream, the complete systematization of reality.
And so wouldn't you have it, most of the class are A ranks, and a couple of them are even S ranks. And get this, even the bullied kid, who I should point out, when they were bullying him on the bus, Thin Air Kun had a flashback to all the times that he was kind to the bully kid. Not in this current situation. He did not help in that one. He did not stand up for him there. But he did think of all the times that he did do that in the past, and that's important because when you know, the bullied kid is one of the S-ranked superpowers.
Oh God!
And in fact, he gets the dark elemental power.
Oh, please don't tell me this is going where I think it's going.
You know where it's going.
No, dude, no, please, God, no.
And so now, after everyone has had their powers assigned and ranked, and he is disappointingly in E rank with low stats, and his power is that he can only do status affecting attacks.
The bully turns to our main character. He goes, "Hey, some of you are all right. Don't go to school tomorrow."
Oh, no, you're wrong. You're totally wrong.
Really?
Yeah. No, okay, so what happens is after everyone finds out that he has the shittiest power, which he can just do status attacks like paralyze and poison, which sound not shitty, honestly, if we're talking about superpowers, if you have the power to paralyze people. But the goddess lady, you know, she says, like, oh yeah, but in this world, those types of spells have a really low success rate, and so everyone thinks they're shitty. And by the way, we have a tradition. This is the word that she uses. We have a tradition of exiling the weakest hero to the abandoned ruins to die so that he doesn't drag down the rest of the class.
What?
And so he's like, what? That's fucked up. That's a really bad way to run things. I can do stuff with my powers. And she's like, yeah, but, you know, we don't really need you. And also, like, the rest of your class kind of hates you anyway. And the rest of the class is like, yeah, we've always, like, we don't give a shit. Like, come on, let us go use our powers. Just go die already so that we can get on with our hero life.
Even the Chad?
Even the Chad.
Wow, what a heartbreaking development.
Yeah. And so the bullied kid, he, you know, comes, he's like, hey, everybody, stop it. And he goes and he puts his hand on Thin Air Kun's shoulder. And Thin Air Kun is like, hey, I knew that you'd have my back. And bully kid is like, shut the fuck up, weakling. I'm with the Chads now.
There's only two things that could have happened, right? Is either he goes, hey, some of you are right, don't go to school tomorrow, or he goes like full like Mean Girls. I'm in the squad now.
Yeah, no, he's full in the squad now.
So he chose Mean Girls.
Yeah, he goes full Mean Girls on him, and at that point, we get Thin Air Kun having a flashback to when he was a little kid and his stepdad was beating him up, and so he has a real sad backstory now. In addition to being shit on by his classmates,
Oh, great.
who he never thought were his friends. And he also, in his internal monologue, he always looked down on them. They were not wrong to like kind of low-key hate him. He is a shitty dude.
He is a piece of shit.
He is a piece of shit. And at this point, he's like, all right, well, now I'm going to let the dark me that I've always hidden out, and you're all going to regret it.
So he's the one who's
And
like,
so he's the one that says, don't come to school tomorrow.
none of you are right. All of you come to school tomorrow.
Yes, exactly.
Cool. I love glorifying school shooters. I think it's the coolest thing about isekai.
And so then he gets unceremoniously teleported to the trash kingdom that's filled with monsters.
Okay.
That they call the abandoned ruins for some reason, even though it's clearly a cave that's just filled with monsters and trash. and here's the kicker at the end of the episode. He finds that his status spells have a 100% success rate.
Why?
Well, I don't know. It doesn't matter. Shut up. He can always use his powers, and so he can, in fact, paralyze and poison and put people to sleep whenever he wants.
Wait,
so actually his shitty power is incredibly powerful.
He can do every status effect?
He can do every status effect.
What kind of power? I've never heard of that. What kind of power is that you could just do all of them?
Well, in his little data bracelet, his power is called status effect.
That's stupid. That's stupid and dumb.
Yeah, it's real stupid. It's a dumb show. I regret watching it.
That's not even a thing in RPGs. You specify which status effect you can apply.
No, his special unique power is called bestow abnormal status. That's the name of his power.
Okay, does he get to choose?
Yeah.
It's not random.
It's not random.
This sucks. Fuck this guy.
Yeah, he sucks.
God, he sucks.
And all of his classmates suck. And the Golden Goddess sucks too. They all suck.
This is true fucking cynicism.
Yeah. This is part of that death cult stuff that we were talking about.
Yes.
This is just pure. This isn't even like, oh, I'm going to die and go to a world that is tailor-made to make me happy. I am getting teleported to another world where I get to revel and roll around in these negative feelings.
Yes.
To the point of sadism.
Yeah. There are two isekai. There's the one that feeds your ego, and then there's the one that feeds your id. You know, there are two wolves inside you. Yeah. And this one is this is pure id-driven masturbatory fantasy.
Yeah.
I need to express the darkest parts of myself in a safe environment.
Only advisable to consume by weird little chunin kids.
Man, it's just like, you know, they blamed Doom back in the 90s. And there are no school shooters in Doom.
This is our millennial trauma leaking through.
It's worse than that. This is like, hey, what if Doom actually was like that Counter-Strike map, like the high school Counter-Strike map, you know?
Uh-huh. It left me feeling real gross after watching it.
Yeah, that's terrible. That's the kind of thing that where like I cast myself back, you know, to like truly like I try to find like the darkest feelings I had when I was in high school and be like, would that speak to me? And I think like in some level, maybe in like my most depressive episodes, I might be like, yeah, I do want to like take revenge kind of arbitrarily on the whole world, but that was not good.
Yeah, no, it's not good. It's not. You don't want to keep that stuff inside you.
It did make me feel like a good person. It did make me feel like that was a fantasy I wanted to act out. You know, that was like, man, I feel really, really bad. Like I want to excise these feelings. I do not want to explore them.
Okay, but what if you had a superpower and then you use that superpower to kill the rest of your class?
I mean, this really does feel like exploring a kind of feeling in a country that does not have school shootings. I mean, like, we joke about that all the time, or at least I do. I don't want to implicate you.
It's a weird, and I'm using this word in kind of a loose sense, but it's a weird privilege, right? To be able to write about this stuff in a speculative sense.
Yes, I guess that really is it. That is exactly it. Is that we live, as Americans, we live in an era where this dude exists, and his special ability is gun, and he can get that gun, and his other world is just going and using the gun. That is a thing that happens almost every day in our country. That is fucking psycho shit, and it is like extraordinarily traumatizing to our entire fucking society. Anyone younger than us, I really feel like for Gen Z, 9/11 is not trauma. Fucking Columbine happening every other week is the trauma.
Yeah.
It's bizarre to me that these isekai have become so popular, because the only thing I can see when I see shit like this one is 100 Columbines happening at once, over and over again. Like some kind of fucking circle of hell.
What if the Columbine kids were the heroes and they were good for doing it?
Yeah, what if the Columbine kids got everything they wanted, I guess, is the fantasy here? And that is some of the darkest shit I've ever thought.
I mean, the cynical take on that is that they did get everything they wanted.
Yeah, it's like they fucking ate their guns and then they woke up in the fantasy world. We joke a lot about how isekai is truly the putrescent soul of the anime death spiral. But this is it. It really is. In my opinion.
Yeah, it's the same.
As sincerely
it's the same
as I can
thing
be,
as, like,
this is the fucking it. This is it. This is the death spiral.
What was the other one I watched? I went to another world and got an overpowered ability there, and then used to become overpowered in my home world, something like that. About the fat kid that everyone hates, and he got beat up for trying to stop a robbery, and then he finds a portal to another world in the back of his granddad's house.
Oh, yes.
And he goes there and he becomes hot and cool and overpowered, and he comes back to stunt on all of his classmates.
Yes, I do remember
It's
that.
It's the same thing as that. Although that had even more of a power fantasy element to it than this. This is just pure, like, I am going to transport me and my class to a setting where it is acceptable for me to strike out against them.
Yeah. And I have to say again, there's another thing we harp on sometimes, but like as like we talk about horror as being a deeply conservative medium and genre, like anime is a deeply conservative genre and medium, and this is an expression. This truly is one of the most reactionary and like regressive expressions of power fantasy. Is the completely grievance-driven, absolute kind of isolationist, individualist fantasy of, I have the freedom now to enact my will, and I will do it exclusively through violence. Like, that is as conservative as you can get.
Yeah.
That is a reactionary position. And that is a reactionary position that not only exists like for real in our world, but is something that like young people are exercising.
Yeah, they're learning about it, and they're becoming indoctrinated with it, and they're doing it.
Yes, and I'm not saying that's because of isekai. I want to make that very clear. I don't think
isekai is a symptom. It is it's a canary in a coal mine of a sickness in the wider society.
Yeah. You'll never hear me blaming art or other cultural products for like the psychic damage that actually affects the real world. But it is truly an expression of it. It is an exploration of it in a safe environment, which is fantasy. Mm-hmm. Not fantasy as like fantasy, but fantasy as in, our imaginations. And I'm constantly dumbfounded that stuff like this can just be eaten up like completely uncritically. I find it so extraordinarily cynical that it really makes me want to get hit by a bus.
Oh man, that got dark. Let's bring it back up a little bit. Why don't you?
Okay, all right.
Tell me about something else.
Okay, there was another isekai I mentioned quite a few times now that I was actually looking forward to. This is like the big exception, I guess. And there's reasons for this that actually match up to what we were just talking about. Quality Assurance in Another World premiered, and this is one of the ones that I've been reading for a while that I actually really like. And you'll see if you watch it. There's some pretty key differences. One being that this is a character, our main character in this. I mean, this is standard isekai. A guy goes to another world. In this, it's very much what if Sword Art Online never got released and the QA testers were the only ones playing, right? That's kind of the premise.
Uh-huh. God, I wish Sword Art Online never got released.
Yeah, you know. I love when people are like, you just have to watch like past the first 3 seasons and then it gets really good. And you're like, come on, man. Are you
okay?
Kidding me?
As a One Piece fan, though, can you really be making that criticism?
One Piece chapter 1 is fucking great. Like it is off to the races as soon as you see it. Not a comparison at all. Quality Assurance in Another World is much better than Sword Art Online, and there's a lot of different reasons for that. And it's kind of the antithesis of the failure frame-esque isekais, because our character, for one, wants to go home. He wants to return to his life. But more on top of that, right, what he also wants to do is complete his task. And one of the things that I really like about Quality Assurance is he does have access to godlike cheat level skills, but he chooses not to use them because he recognizes, and the show makes a very big point of this, is that on many different levels, those godlike cheat level skills can ruin you as a person. One is like literally in that, as we see in some of his companions, you could get trapped in the geometry. Right.
You've talked to yes. This is starting to click with me. You've talked about this before.
Yeah.
You know, people getting trapped in the geometry, getting shot out into across the map because of weird physics.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah, being caught between the death and life state because you tried to use invincibility. But it also happens in a couple different ways as well. There is the characters we meet who are kind of ostensibly the bad guys originally. And the way they are ruined is emotionally. The access to infinite levels of power immediately destroy any sense of reality for them, and they begin like just immediately pivoting to like sadism. And they keep padding out their morality by going, these are just NPCs. But we see, these characters go around.
Okay, but how many times have gone around smacking children with swords in Skyrim? First thing you see. Exactly.
And that's part of it. That's part of what it's exploring here is like, well, these characters, they consider the world a playpen, a sandbox. And so like they don't consider themselves evil for like rounding up a bunch of NPCs and then doing surgery on them for fun, because they have isolated themselves from the rest of the world by creating, using their cheat level god skills, which again is what a lot of these isekai are about. They find that isolates them like mentally and emotionally from the world that they now live in, right?
Right.
And that's a really interesting exploration. And then the third kind is a character we meet who doesn't do either of those things. He finds an NPC kind of by chance after all the characters realize that they're trapped in the other world, right? Again, very standard isekai stuff. And he decides, unlike our main character, he doesn't want to do QA testings. He's just going to kick back and see if everything resolves itself. And he ends up hanging out with an NPC that he spends so much time with, he actually becomes really emotionally attached to. So the opposite of the other guys.
I mean, that's dangerous. You don't want to make a habit of that.
Yes.
We've seen where that leads.
Yes, exactly. And he starts to he lets his personal relationship with this NPC grow a little too much because he really embeds himself in the world. He goes the other direction. So when he comes face to face, and there's, the various plot reasons why this happens. When he comes face to face with the artificiality of that relationship, when he is reminded of that because of his ability, his access to godlike cheat level skills, that is devastating to him. So that is the flip side of it. The devastation of realizing that the artificiality of this world, right, is again thrust upon you because of your basic alienation,
right,
from the game world, and that reasserting itself into his relationship with this one NPC is absolutely annihilating for his sense of place in the world and his relationship with this NPC.
I mean, it's a long way to do the Rick and Morty Dave simulator joke about living out a dude's life.
Yes, but with a lot of emotional sincerity, and care and attention.
I have no room for emotional sincerity, sir. Have you not realized that about me yet?
Well, you know what? Your capacity may grow if you watch this show and find that you like it.
Yeah, all right.
Who knows?
I don't know. You want to do a Grinch move on my heart. I don't know about that.
You never know. So I find this to be basically the complete antithesis of that other style, the death drive isekai. And I find it incredibly charming. And I really like the main character. And I think the anime has just essentially done a very faithful adaptation of the first few chapters. There's no surprises. There's nothing particularly special. The animation isn't mind-blowing like in an Elusive Samurai, but it is perfectly fine. I think this is, as far as episode 1s go, this is a standard adaptation. But the plot, it makes it worth watching. And I think there's also some funny gags in the first episode, too.
Okay. All right.
This is good. This is a good one. I don't know what else to say.
Okay. All right. Well, I have one more that I wanna talk about before we.
I was afraid you were going to say that. But okay. All right. No, lay it on me. Let's get it out.
Well, okay.
Let's get 'em out.
Okay. I watched. What was it called? No Longer Allowed in Another World, and this is much different than I thought it was gonna be going into it. I will even say up front that I kind of liked this. I thought it was pretty funny.
Wow. And this is, of course, the Osamu Dazai isekai.
Yes. And so the premise of this is that Dazai, in 1948, with his paramour, I guess, they both decide that they want to do a double suicide. Because they think it would be the most beautiful, poetic thing ever. So
this show actually takes the stance that the suicide wasn't coerced.
Yes, no.
Okay.
This show is almost explicitly anti-suicide. So here's the hook. Just before they jump into the river, they get hit by a truck.
Wait, what?
Yeah. What? So I was not. This is a comedy. It is a straight up comedy, and it is making fun of isekai. It's pretty good.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, the premise here is they get hit by a truck, and he wakes up in a fantasy world, and is greeted by the fantasy goddess who greets all of the heroes who come to this world.
Sure, of course. What about the girl?
Well, we don't know what happens to the girl yet.
Okay, all right.
But he wakes up and he's like, I guess this is just where you go when you die. I didn't expect it to be so, Western fantasy themed. And this chick comes in and she's like, oh, no, you're not dead. I sent out my isekai seeking truck to go find a hero to bring here.
Okay, all right.
So she explains that Earth has an overabundance of depressed people from across its timeline. And so her function as a goddess is to send out the isekai truck to bring them to the fantasy world so that they can live out a life and feel good about themselves where they're the hero, right?
Okay.
Except he's pissed. He really wanted to die. He was just super into the dying part. And so the first thing that he does after she explains the situation is down an entire bottle of sleeping pills.
Sleeping pills.
Which, of course, she uses a magic spell to detoxify him with, which,
Where did he
again,
get this?
pisses him off.
He just had a bottle of sleeping pills?
Yeah, no, you see, it kind of explains it away later. He suffers from migraines, and so he just keeps bottles of sedatives on him all the time.
Sure.
But it makes for an amusing visual gag throughout the episode where he's just kind of constantly smoking cigarettes and munching on pills.
Right. Yes.
And drinking alcohol. And that's the only thing that he does.
Yeah, I mean, that's fairly accurate to his life. I mean, he was constantly sickly to the point where he spent a lot of his life just lying in bed, sweating his fucking ass off due to some illness or other, just living off pills and shit. That's pretty accurate.
Yeah, no, and it would explain why he wants to commit suicide, which, I get it. His life sucked, and he just wanted to go out in a beautiful way. I see the poetry in it.
According to some theories.
Yeah.
Again, I will say that there's a lot of people posit that he did not want to kill himself in that last instance. He was coerced. But, I guess the show doesn't want to talk about that part.
No, they're kind of glossing over that, at least for the time being.
All right.
And so, to his dismay, he finds that his new godlike hero powers make it incredibly hard for him to kill himself in the fantasy world.
Okay, high regen.
Yeah, well, not quite. More like high luck stat, godly luck stat.
Okay.
So one of the first gags they do after he wanders out into the world trying to seek his death is he wanders upon a cat girl being attacked by an evil tree.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Like Evil Dead style?
Evil Dead style. In
Oh,
Evil
God.
Dead 1 style.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And she's like, "Hey, mister, help me out." And he's like, "Oh, you're being attacked by a tree. That sounds like a pretty good way to go." And so deliberately lets himself get attacked by the tree. And, it does kind of a visual gag where it looks like he's hung himself from one of the branches.
Sure, sure.
But wouldn't you know it, evil trees feed on the life force of their victims. And he's just so full of
Death drive.
like nicotine and bad vibes and sleeping pills.
Yeah.
That he poisons the tree to death with his energy.
Okay, all right. And I don't hate that.
Yeah. And so that's basically the gag of the comic.
Sure.
Right? Or the comic, the show is he is trying to find out what happened to the girl that he was going to kill himself with, but at the same time also intentionally trying to get into situations where he'll die, but it'll be a Three Stooges type of buffoonery that gets him out of these deadly situations.
Okay, I think I got a handle on it. Mm-hmm. Now
it was a lot funnier than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah. Now my only other question about this is do they bring up the communism?
They do not bring up the communism.
Oh, damn it.
What was the one line that stuck out with me? I wrote it down. It's I've tried to kill myself 5 times and it didn't work one time. I thought that was funny.
Okay, all right. Well, that is
no longer allowed in another world. I'm still trying to figure out the title. He's very obviously allowed there.
no longer allowed in another world. Well, death is no longer allowed in another world.
Oh,
Suicide is no longer allowed in another world.
I
right?
see. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, that's my assumption.
So anyway, yeah. I don't know. I'll probably check it out. I am not familiar with the works of Osamu Dazai, but
Hey, take a quick peek.
maybe this will spark an investigatory streak in me.
Yeah, I mean, hell, throw an eyeball over the old Wikipedia page. Maybe those jokes will become either funnier or much darker to you.
Okay. Oh man, it is too hot here to keep talking about anime.
too hot
We've talked
today.
about it too long already.
Yeah, anime sucks. This was
Anime
awful.
sucks. These all
Jesus
suck.
Christ. I'm so mad. I really fucking... Oh, I'm so pissed off about anime right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go rewatch that episode of Plus Size Elf just to really let it sink in how much I hate it.
Yeah, get the heart pumping, but because of hatred.
Yeah, because of
the hatred of it.
Okay, all right. Go download the episodes. Give us stars on Apple Podcasts.
Yeah, do the reviews.
Check us out on TikTok.
Tell somebody with the old traditional mouth style talking.
Yeah, if you listen to this,
tell somebody.
And I know I know some of you do. I know some of you do. You go tell somebody else. You go tell somebody else to listen to it.
Yeah, tell them they don't need to watch anime to like the show. In fact, it might help.
Yeah, they can just like us. We're likable. Oh, we're likable without the anime.
We're so fucking likable and funny and cool
and tall.
And also, hey, maybe listening to us talk about the anime might actually be better than watching the anime. Just a thought I had.
I can 100% guarantee that with some of these shows. I'll tell you what.
Yes, I can say that definitely about some of the anime we've talked about. Like, that is for sure. Like, do not watch Plus Size Elf. Do not watch Failure Frame. Do not watch Shoshimin, How to Become Ordinary. Maybe watch My Dear Friend Nokotan. I don't know.
Yeah, give it a shot. I don't know. That one's all right. Okay, that's it. That's it for me. I'm drained.
All right.
Let's get out of here. Bye.
Bye.
The Metal Gears are obviously stand-ins for the demonic lizard aliens. Why do you think they look like that? You think that's a coincidence? Come on!